Alright, what's up guys? My name is Luke, aka the Hight5guy. You all probably know me as that. But this is my series where I interview students here at the University of Maryland, and in the future it'll be people from across the world when I travel that I meet to get a little bit more, to know a little bit more about them, what they're passionate about, and the things that they think that the world should know more about. So today I have Tino. I'll let Tino introduce himself real quick.
I'm Tino for Gale. My major is currently public speaking and advocacy at the University of Maryland, and I'm the treasurer of Makris, an on-campus activist organization.
Cool. So let's start with the high five thing. What was your first encounter with the high five, and what was your first impression?
I probably just walked by, confused at what it is, and then like, but that was not really a first impression. It was just kind of like a glance, seeing it there, and then there'd be days when I was just like, I just want to go and eat, and just gonna go in, and then there are days when I got a high five and it was great and it was happy and sunshiny.
Did you give me a high five the very first time, or did
No.
How many times did it take you before you were like, all right, this is cool?
I don't know. It might have been like, I'm gonna guess from the third to the seventh time.
Okay, sounds good.
Somewhere in there.
Sounds good to me.
But like, there's been at least probably 50 times I've passed you in total.
Okay, gotcha.
So, but like, and I don't mean pass go by you, but like either high fived or not, but like just going straight past.
Yeah. Okay. You ever had like a day or an instance when you were struggling and it really helped out?
Yeah. So I think that there are some days when I'm in like when I'm like in an excited mood, it kind of adds to that excitement.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a hey, bam,
woo,
up to the day real quick. It's like a woo, yeah, like the football players slap their asses. It's like kind of like that. So when I'm already in a good mood, it makes my mood better. When I'm in a bad mood, I usually don't. I usually just like, I don't isolate myself, but I'm just like dead focused on whatever I have to do, and I don't think about anything else. So I don't usually. So on those days, I usually won't even go for the high five. But it always makes a good day better.
Kind of going along with that, what shocked you the most about the whole high five thing?
I think it's shocking in general. I think what's shocking about it is that you have you, Luke, out there almost, maybe it's not every day, but it seems like every day, and of course that's like a whole, like you described, it's like a trick to it. It's like you're out there, you condition people to like you're always out there.
Yeah.
So I think that the whole thing that's shocking is that there's somebody out there, namely you, that is out there just giving people high fives every day, and that's, or not every day, but just.
Yeah, pretty much every day.
Yeah. So like, somebody out there who's just like
every day,
and most people don't know what it is. I still don't know what it is. I was meaning to look at the YouTube video before I came, and I didn't dare to.
Yeah, so for me, consistency is something. Consistency and actions, I think, speak louder than anything else, and that's why for me, being out there every day, saying if I'm going to be out there every day from 12 to 1, people will need to know that I'm going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Unless, of course, an odd thing happens. But consistency is important to me.
Okay.
And last semester, I was out there, 6, 7, 8 hours at a time. And so that probably made people think that I'm there all the time. Like, when I've reduced it to, like, an hour each day this semester, people don't really notice that.
When you say 6, 7 hours each day, do you mean, like, you were like total everywhere across campus, or just South Campus Diner?
Yeah, like last semester, there was times when I stood outside for like a whole day. I saw some people like 3 times. It was kind of that was what I realized was a bit too much.
The other day, I saw you 3 times or more than that.
Yeah, that was a little different because we were getting ready. We were getting ready for the high five world record,
which I ended up having to miss.
Yeah,
don't
worry about it. It's okay. It was a cool experience though.
Yeah, the low
doing
fives.
all that.
I saw the video. I saw the live stream.
I got the most views on that video out of all my videos. I was excited for that.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. So
maybe the Facebook sharing worked out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I had all the departments on campus retweeting me. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Just to see that. But now to get into some we already are in some fun stuff here. But to get into some more fun stuff, is there anything that you're particularly excited about in life right now?
Particularly excited about in life. I feel like I'm kind of at a crossroads because I recently my thing is people. I like to study people. My favorite thing to do is my favorite hobby right now is to read autobiographies.
Mm-hmm.
The most recent one I read was the autobiography of Malcolm X.
Okay.
I love that. I absolutely think it's so important for as many people to read as possible. And this year, at the beginning of this semester, I wanted to do a thing where I'd make a friend each day. And I had continued that up till recently, where it's more like I'll make 7 friends a week, but not necessarily a friend each day. And that was because I wanted to continue, meeting new people and like just learning about what they have to say, just learning about their lives, because I love that. but I feel now that because I'm so busy with being like treasurer of Maryburg and also my classes and my girlfriend's here from London, so she's living with me, and I want to make her happy as well, so I have all these things, and I don't get to read much right now, but also I feel like there's not enough time for me to introspect and reflect on my time so far and make any improvement in the way I socialize and glean information for people and learn about people. So I'm excited to get a little time maybe where I just feel a little bit freer to think to myself a little bit more.
So that kind of leads into my next question, which is, what would you consider yourself an expert in?
That's tough. So I almost don't. I wouldn't consider myself like a firm expert in anything, but I would say that I am an expert, not an expert, but probably generally knowledgeable about emotions and conversation.
Emotions and conversation. So I want to kind of maybe clarify something. So when I say expert, so expert to me is very relative.
Very relative.
It's, you can base it off of, compared to like some other Joe Schmo off the side of the street, or you can compare it to, Warren Buffett, who knows a ton about like stocks and investments. So like, for me, what is it that, and you answered the question already, but like when I say expert, in the future videos, when I say expert, it's like, what do you have the most knowledge about? What do you feel like you're really interested in, that you're learning a lot about, that you continue to learn about, and that you would say, this is what I'm going to be all-knowing about in someday? And so I guess in that kind of way, you were saying that, emotions and...
Yeah. It's kind of like, at the same time, I'm most interested in empathy and human interaction, so I think that would be my most studied. It's my hobby, it's my passion, and public speaking and advocacy is my major, so it's really all about people for me. So if I'm not really an expert in it, that's where it's getting to.
Yeah. Okay, so really things about social interactions.
Yeah, social interaction.
So with that being said, for people who know nothing about it, what would be one thing that you'd want them to know? Like, there's the one thing that they need to know about all of this field. What is it?
And it's so cliche, but just like listening to people. And listening means not thinking about a response sometimes. It means just hearing what somebody has to say, because then, and even if you're dead silent after that because you don't have a response right away and you're processing what they're saying, that's important, because then after that you may come home with something totally different. Especially if you're processing information, then it probably means that something's not complete for you or registering the same way it came out of the other person's mouth, right? Because it came out cleanly, and maybe you're taking time to digest it, break it apart, and reconstruct it in terms of what you've lived. And that's something that that's why I think listening is so important, because that's when you learn, like, shocking, or maybe like an upheaval in your life comes from just like a couple words that somebody says that don't quite sit right with you.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, that's kind of one of the reasons I'm starting this. Is kind of one of the reasons, like, that's been a focus of mine. It's like, I'm very quick to respond and to get answers out as quick as possible. This is a challenge for me right now, just listening to you. So I'm getting these thoughts in my head, and I want to, like, spit something out. But I'm like, no, I just need to listen, take what he has to hear. And, like, so that's the thing, is, like, the reason I'm interviewing all these people is because they all know something. You are an expert. Whether you believe it or not, you're an expert in something. And in this case, it's social people. And so the fact that you brought up that listening thing is something that a lot of people overlook very easily all the time. And I see it every day myself as I focus on it myself. So kind of going along with that, if there was somebody who wanted to get more into this field of study, what would be your piece of advice to them?
You can't just study it in a textbook way. I think you can't just study in a textbook way, and that you can put that. I think that's important for almost anything too. Almost. There's examples I couldn't think of that I'm sure there are out there, but I do feel that especially with social interaction, you have to have social interactions to become.
So you have to practice it. You can't just.
Yeah, you can practice it, but sometimes it's not. It's like practice is kind of. I kind of feel like that might even be like a weird word for it. It's more like
experiment.
Just like experiencing or like experimenting with it and just figuring things out. You make a lot of missteps doing social interaction. I make so many. The prime person I communicate with is my girlfriend, and I make a new mistake every day, and especially because she's from Singapore, so her culture. I'm a fan of like sexual innuendos and jokes like that, and I laugh at the most crude humor, but she doesn't. So it's especially with humor, that gets to the core of social interaction sometimes. So if you can't relate to somebody on a like a humorous level, it makes things a lot trickier.
Gotcha.
Learning how to navigate that is a new experience that I can't really get from quite a textbook. You can learn about how cultural interaction changes things, and how like you can't assume the same knowledge that you use in America to interact with people in, say, like Bulgaria, Singapore, or China.
Mm-hmm.
But just because you know that you can't assume that, you don't know what you can, what your baseline of like kind of like what you can assume generally. Like sometimes like I can assume generally that people are gonna laugh at sex jokes here. It usually works, or not jokes in like a sense, but just like funny things about like crude humor and sex and stuff like that. That stuff is often funny to people in America, but or at least in Maryland, the DC area, it seems like that across the board works for people. And self-deprecating humor and stuff like that often works, but then with my girlfriend, it just doesn't work at all.
Yeah. Totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
So one last subject I want to get into is there anything that you're really passionate about in life, like a cause or something like that you feel like more people should know about?
Martin Luther King says that everybody can be great because everybody can serve. And I have sort of just in general, like doing things for others and trying to get more people to do things for others, trying to do that myself, because that can be sometimes the hardest thing. It's like, okay, I have so much studying to do. Where can I fit in some time to do something for others? And I feel like it's not about fitting it in, even though I still am having that struggle myself with fitting in service for others. You know, free, just kindness and sharing kind of service. I feel like I often don't go out there to do it myself, and I have to try and fit it into my schedule when I really should be fitting my schedule around doing things like that.
I love how you said that. Yeah, exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, it's not trying to fit it in, it's making it the priority, and that's essentially how I try to run my life, and why I do this such thing as give out high fives so many times a day and for so long and stuff like that, is because I'm always thinking about how it's impacting other people. Because I'll tell you, there's not every day that I go out that I want to do it, but I know that once I've gone out, and I just remember, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 times that people have come up to me and told me how much it meant to them.
Yeah.
It reminds me, and it says, all right, I'm going.
And I'm sure it's been really cold on some of those days.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like you've probably mentioned that.
One of the days that
it's freezing, but okay.
One of the days that somebody this is actually a previous episode you guys can find, but one of the days that it was freezing out, somebody actually came up and was like, this is a bad day. I was like, how's it going? She's like, bad, and gave me like a bad high five. And that was the one day I was like, thank God you said that, because that means I get to go inside and come talk to you a little bit more to like kind of get to know you a little bit better, which is kind of like the first time I took the high five thing to the next level, which was kind of cool. But one day was a good day that got to go back inside because it was freezing out.
So you talked to her because it was, did you say it was her?
Yes.
Okay. Because she was having a bad day.
Yes, she came up. I was like, how's it going? Give me a high five. She gave no, but she like pretend you're me. Okay. She did bad like walked in, and I was like, no, what? That can't be happening. And I was like, I went and found her, got to know her a little bit. But you guys can see that in the other video. There'll probably be a link up in the corner you can watch. But
oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And then, so yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. But yeah, so I mean, not trying to fit doing good deeds into your schedule, but making that the priority.
Yeah.
And then one thing that we say in business all the time, because I am a business major, that is kind of a lot of my focus, is that
I'm also a finance major as well.
There you go. Yeah. So with business, it's always like, do whatever you're passionate about, look to serve others, and then the money will follow, is what they always say. Now, a lot of people don't believe that and take it for granted, but I really do believe it. And so yeah, essentially, my success, what I want on YouTube, what I want, to be able to do with my future, I think is going to revolve around the acts of kindness that I do first. So
totally.
That's why I do it.
I sure hope so.
Yeah.
I sure hope my future revolves around the same stuff. And I really do think that, like, that's kind of what the shocking thing is, that being out there, doing the high fives, and always being out there means that it is your priority, and that's shocking that somebody is committing to service above other priorities.
Yeah. So, some fun questions to kind of end with.
All right, that's it.
When I say successful, who or what comes to mind?
There are 3 people that came to mind, just because I think I'm so used to hearing about people like or more than 3, but like Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, who had they've amassed fortunes and they've created great technologies, that sort of stuff, and like an entrepreneurial success. I thought of my girlfriend and myself, just because we make little things every day that are successes, and like getting up in the morning sometimes is a success that I'm just so proud of. It's just like, God, I managed to take a shower, or like I managed to go for a run in the morning, or I actually went to the gym today, something like that. All those are little successes that, you know, can build to like a bigger sum than all the parts.
Yeah, I think that's really important. A lot of people think that success is like one big thing. It's like an overnight success, like things happen crazy. But yeah, it's a bunch of little steps. Yeah, it's a bunch of little steps.
That's exactly. Like really like the thing you said about actually I don't know, but like just like to be passionate about something and doing what you love and doing what and putting that above like that big success thing, or like the big dream or goal you have. It's like you have to enjoy that process to do it. So like for me,
the journey.
I don't really the journey of like finance isn't quite like the business stuff I do up in the Smith School isn't quite the love of it. For me, it's with finance it's an applicable tool that I believe will help me in the future with other endeavors. But I know that without doing public, like I would have straight up gone to communications or something else if I had to just choose one major over the other. It's a bonus, and I tack it on because my love for things, it lies in like public speaking and advocacy and that kind of stuff. So the service things, and that I enjoy the process of. The finance stuff, like I'm taking accounting 2 right now, and it isn't bad. It's not too hard for me. I study it and I do well. It's just it's there, and I don't really think much of it.
It's for those other business people who are watching or listening. It kind of goes along with Gary Vaynerchuk and what he says about the journey to success. It's all about the journey to owning the jets. And for people who don't know anything about business, or who just, if you think about it like retirement, a lot of people go into retirement and they crumble, they fall apart because they have nothing to do with their lives. Like it's like the journey's over.
Done, yeah.
And so it's really more about the actual journey of itself and building to that last goal than actually reaching that last goal and trying to do something after that. So if you had a fortune, what would you trade that all for?
This is a little random, but I've always kind of like, I was big into anime as a high schooler, and I think it actually shaped most of my personality up through high school.
And there's actually an old video of somebody else who's an expert about anime.
That's great.
Anime, so you can check that out.
That's amazing. I probably will, because I'm pretty close to anime. Anime hits home for me. It's not something I consider like the best of all anime now, but it was one of the first that brought me into it. I loved this one called Sword Art Online, and I watched it, and there was this scene where they had there's like an episode where they were in like a cabin in the woods kind of thing, and I really kind of like, if I could trade that away from like a fortune and just kind of like enjoying just like a simple like way of like, you know, cutting logs, making a fireplace out of that, burning the wood and living in a cabin in the woods, and you know, I try to be like eat nuts and berries and stuff, and just kind of like relax like that.
Interesting. No, like, that's cool.
Because it's totally different from like the way I live now, and hopefully I could find something to do that serves others there. I'm sure maybe we'd have like a little woodsy community. I'd feed squirrels. Yeah.
Maybe some Smurfs out there.
Some Smurfs, yes, that would be the perfect thing.
That'd be awesome. That's my favorite show in France when I used to go all the time.
You used to go to France all the time and watch
my
Smurfs?
dad's from France, so long story short, I go to France once a year. We watch cartoons when we're there because there's nothing else to do. I mean, there is Paris to visit, but when you've done it so many times, there's not much left after that.
It's all about the Smurfs. Strumpfavi is what they call it in Croatia.
Yeah, okay. Strumpf is what it is in French.
Strumpf,
so.
yeah.
Yeah. So, Papa Strumpf.
Papa Strumpf.
But, yeah, so I love that. But here, okay, my last question. It's one of my favorites. I mean, of course, it's the bagel or donut question. But if you had a billboard that you could put anywhere in the world, and you could put anything on it, where would you put it, and what would you put on it?
So my dad, I once recently I told him that maybe it was this semester, but I was like, hey, he's a big 300-pound man. He's been on a successful diet recently, so I'm really proud of him. And he's been taking control of his. He's always had weight issues. And they do seriously affect him. It's not just like a self-conscious thing. He's really not self-conscious. He's quite a confident man, but he's like
health issues that come across.
Yeah, so he has gout and his ankles hurt. But I was like, you know, I think you have the perfect, desirable masculinity, and you're super niche with this because you have stains on your shirt sometimes, and you're this big hunk of man, and you walk up the stairs, and your butt crack is just halfway. Like it's just slightly nasty. And he's got like a full beard, just a little gray hairs. He looks burly still. His forearms are big. I'd like to hang up a calendar of him just like in the most like provocative pose possible. Like maybe he'd like have like a little finger on his butt like this, like that on, and just and he's got a lot of hair on his chest. He's a very hairy man. He's like an ape, just like that. And I'd love that. Just a white poster. Where did I put it? A white poster. It's just him. Where did I put it? I'd like to put it in like just the middle of Manhattan, just like Times Square. So people can
We've
like
gotten
go
that
past
before.
and look
Yep.
at it. Yeah.
There you go.
I'd love that. It would brighten. It would just.
You could do an
brighten it.
actual calendar of like 12 different things.
That was
We
the
had it on
point. Yeah, that
Times
was the
Square
point.
thing,
It was
so
a real. It was supposed to be a calendar.
Yeah.
It was like we could sell this, and I guarantee you, I would get people to buy it. I don't think it'd be hard to market something that crazy and out there. People would be like, "Oh yeah, it's a big man with a stains on. I like it."
Yeah, you could get Dove to go for that. You know, they're women beauty.
Yeah, they're
kind of
going
thing.
for like a very. They
Changing fashion.
They
though.
need to become. Speak of diversity. Put my dad on your calendar.
Yeah, there you go. All right, guys. Well, that's another episode where I meet the people who have passions, interests, things just like you. If you guys are interested in being interviewed and sharing what you are knowledgeable about or what you have a passion for, let me know. I'll be more than willing to interview and have you on the show. Other than that, if you guys like this video, please hit the subscribe button so you won't miss another upload. You'll get notifications when I upload. You can actually turn that off if you want as well, but that way you know, and it helps support me. And so if you guys like the video, please hit the subscribe button and share with somebody else who you think might enjoy, because the goal is to reach as many people as possible and to impact as many lives as possible. I can only do that with your help. So with that being said, don't forget, subscribe, share, and I'll catch you all in the next video. High five!